Hello everybody, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Rachel Kolsky, historian, London Walks tour guide, author and guest lecturer. And I'm one of many guides in the family of London Walks guides who have been put together by our bosses, but also colleagues, Mary and David Tucker. And each and every one of the guides who works for them has got very different experiences, and they love different parts of London. So each and every one of us is unique, but the one thing we all have in common is our absolutely abiding love and enthusiasm for London. And this little sort of talk about me is also very much about how I became to be a guide. And each of the guides have got a different journey. So each of the show reels that you'll be seeing will give you an idea of the diversity of the London Walks guides and what they can provide for you. So these images basically give you an example of me doing my various different guises. But I want to go back in time. This is a grainy photo of a photo. It's Rachel, age 10. And the reason I wanted to show it to you is because my form teacher said at primary school, Rachel has a slight tendency to chatter. And little did she know that 40 years later, I would actually begin earning my living by talking. Anyway, I stayed at school. I went to college. I went to work. I retrained as a librarian, and I worked in the financial services world for over 25 years. This is me, 1980s, no computers, it was all in my head. And then ultimately I stayed there, and I ultimately became a transatlantic collaborator in the financial services information world. I was very honoured in 2006, I was Information Professional of the Year. And in 2008, I received the Membership Achievement Award by SLA, Special Libraries Association, for my work as President and Membership Secretary for SLA Europe. While I was busy working, negotiating, collaborating, I was going back to study, and I studied guiding for London. And I became a city guide, a Clerkenwell guide, and then got the preeminent London Blue Badge guide. And so that's when I really started walking and talking. So here I am, walking and talking. I also began talking in front of screens. I found that, not everybody wants to go out walking, but I have a vast array not only of walking tours, but also what we call virtual tours as well. And my walking groups are diverse. We travel all over London. And I have to tell you, we guide in all weathers. And I'm famous, I'm famous for being the lady with the flower. Sometimes I go into shops in London, they go, excuse me, are you the lady with the flower? That's how you know you've got the real Rachel. If you have a guide called Rachel and she doesn't have a fluffy flower, it's not me. And there I am with my Dutch tulip, and there's somebody for my big O birthday bought me the biggest flower you could ever imagine. I haven't yet taken it on a walk, but there I am with my flower. I also have written a number of books about London, guidebooks, because that's my passion. I started with Jewish London, and then went on to co-write three books about Whitechapel, the East End, which is my passion, and then women's London, and Jewish London, East End and women are probably what I'm most known for. And then next year will be London stations behind the termini will be coming out, guided tours in and around London's big terminus stations. They've been very well received, and I'm very pleased to say, and Jewish London's gone into 3 editions, Women's London has been reprinted, so thank you everybody that's been buying. I also, in 2009, started being a guest lecturer on cruise ships, which is absolutely amazing, lovely experience, plus lots of cocktails on the deck as well, and people have been very kind. I don't think one can be better than outstanding, or indeed a vibrant presence around the ship. And I've been in the press quite a bit as well. Time Out. This is one of my very early tours. This is before I had a blue badge. I mean, I was one of the guides for Cow Parade. My National Portrait Gallery tour is absolutely loved, both as a real tour and a virtual tour. And Time Out, when they wanted to do an item about quit your job and become when it became to quit your job and become a tour guide, I was the guide that was profiled in Time Out. So extolling the virtues of being a tour guide, which is just fantastic. And then I was invited to become a guide for London Walks, and it took me a little while to get on the roster, but here I am. And the first tours that I did were behind the termini, chugging along, linked, and it's actually my book Behind the Termini is actually really a direct result of the tours I was doing for London Walks. And I made it to the leaflet, and Miss Ever, this is what David called me, Miss Effervescence. So that's what you get, buzzy, 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 quirky, quirky, quirky. And, you know, London walkers are so loyal. So this is the debut for a new terminus talk called Grain to Google, which is like in and around the granary area at King's Cross St Pancras. And look how many people came out to support me and London Walks on the debut for that tour. It was really a super day. So what is it I guide and talk about? Well, all over London, there's nothing I don't cover, no area I don't cover. And I have a range of over 70 walks all in all. And some of them turn into virtual tours quite easily. But really, I'm always interested in the quirky, the unknown, the little bits down the alleyways and the courtyards. And I don't know if any of you know where maybe Rachel House is, where the lovely mosaic is, where the very special and unique war memorial is, and the little bandaged child. So these are the kind of things that I like to point out on my tours, the kind of things that people don't always know exist. There's always good stories behind them. And you can see there that I cover the Beatles, Sylvia Pankhurst, the Rothschilds, St James's, and as I said, this is just a small number of what I do. This is another London Walks tour that I do called Stokey and Misty Village. It's a delightful tour in an area that most Londoners have never even visited. It's got beautiful waterways, there's lovely stories behind this, and of course, London's most famous castle behind the Tower of London. So you have to come on the tour to find out the stories behind it. But as I said, Jewish London and the East End is really one of my specialities. And these are the kind of stories you'll get. This is a photograph I took. I was in the East End when Suffragette, the film, was being filmed. So that's Kerry Mulligan walking down Princelet Street. The Jewish Soup Kitchen, probably one of my most famous, favourite, I should say, buildings in London. Brilliant street art. I do a number of street art talks and tours. This is by one of my favourite artists, Osh. You can't do the East End without talking about the rag trade and the schmutter trade. And of course, I cover that a lot. I have a tour called Stitch, 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 which is all about the clothing trade. And, you know, even things like a fountain, they've got fascinating stories behind them, not only about why we've got so many fountains around London, but also there's a Jewish association with that fountain as well. So these are the kind of things that you have to come on the tours with me to find out the stories behind. This is what people say about my tours. People are so kind. I guess they really enjoy being with me for a few hours, and maybe one of the best quotes from somebody who came on one of my tours just said, "She is the perfect guide. You can't ask for anything more, can you?" So thank you for supporting London Walks, and hopefully I'll meet you before too long, whether it's in real life, IRL, or whether it's on a screen in a Zoom rectangle. Either way, thank you again for supporting everything that we do, and thank you for loving London as much as we do. So I've just got to put my glasses on now, actually, to stop the recording. Such is life.